Okay, thanks for joining me, Grant.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Les.
Grant, you tell me that you went on a trip to the Philippines. Where did you go to? Why did you go and when?
Yeah, we left Melbourne in 1990 and flew directly to Manila, and then we flew south to the southernmost island of the Philippines, Butuan City in Mindanao.
You told me about a street meeting there one night and that you met a man on the street before a meeting. Can you tell us something about that man?
Yeah, sure can. Yeah, well, it was quite a dark night, and however the moon was full, so it was quite bright in the neighbourhood. And as we were walking through the alleyways, I looked around and noticed this man standing there, and he had white eyes, pure white eyes, and it was obvious that he was blind. And sort of I took a note of him and thought, oh, you know, the poor guy, and just kept on walking and inviting other people to the service that night.
Are you sure he was blind? I mean, his eyes weren't just a little off colour, or it wasn't some kind of con artist like David Copperfield?
No, Les, he was definitely blind. There was no two ways about it. His eyes were pure white, and this is a third world country we're talking about here. This man didn't probably know we were even coming until a day or two before, so no, this was no con job. This man was definitely a blind man, and he wasn't there to con us, you know.
Okay, you told me that the man came to the meeting. What was you doing at the time that he was prayed for?
Well, I was standing on the platform at the back, and David said to me that when he prayed for the man, his eyes were white when he closed his eyes. He said after he finished praying, he opened up his eyes, and there were these perfectly formed brown eyes, and the man could see perfectly, and he became overjoyed. He had the smile from one ear to the other. He was so happy and overjoyed that he actually received his sight back, and it was amazing to see.
So how do you know it's the same man?
Well, I recognised him because I'd actually seen him standing out the front of his house just across the road. And but even to satisfy my own curiosity, I followed the man off stage after the healing of his eyes, and I followed him back to his wife, and I spoke to his wife. I wanted to verify that this was the same man that I had seen blind only an hour before, and I asked the wife where they lived, and she pointed at the same house where he was standing. I said, was your husband standing out the front there about an hour ago? She said, yes, he was. I said, could he see anything at all out of his eyes? And she said the only thing that he could see was if he looked at the sun in broad daylight, he could see a pinprick of light coming through one of his pupils, but that was it. Apart from that, the man was totally blind.
What was the crowd's reaction?
Well, they were very astounded, I believe, because once they heard in their own language that this man had been healed, and they knew him, some of them were his next door neighbours, and they came rushing up to the stage to be prayed for and to be healed of their different ailments as well.
It was quite a while ago, Grant. Are you sure that's what happened?
Yes, without a doubt, Les. It's something I'll never forget. I'll take this memory of what happened to that man that day right through to the day of my death, and I'll never forget it. It's the most astounding thing I've ever witnessed in my life. I saw lots of miracles in the Philippines, but that would have to be the highlight for me.
What are your motives for doing this, Grant?
Well, I just want to be honest about how powerful God is, and the miracles that he did there in 1990 for that man, that blind man. It's the same God that did the miracles in the time of Jesus. It's the same God that did the miracles in the Old Testament when lepers were healed, blind people were healed, deaf people were healed. It's the same God. He's no different today, yesterday, and forever. And so the same God that did the healing then, he can do the same healing today.
So why do you think miracles happen?
Well, I believe miracles happen because God has got a compassionate heart and a loving heart. He loves to see people made whole. He loves people who are sick to be healed. He doesn't take any pleasure in seeing people sick and disfigured in any way, shape or form. And so that is always God's desire, to heal people who are sick. It's always that case. And all it requires of us is just to mix it with a little bit of faith. And when you mix those two together, God's love for us and our faith in him, and that's really the concoction for a fantastic miracle to take place in anybody's life.
All right, thanks, Grant.
You're welcome, Les.